Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Sunday evening to you all. Hope you guys are doing well out there as we come to an end of our Thanksgiving weekend. Hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving, a great weekend out there. But we got a lot to discuss really between now and over the next 24 to 48 hours as we're expecting a pretty significant storm system that's going to bring a lot of severe weather potential to an area of the country. So we're going to try to break this down, figure out what we do know as of right now. This is going to be the main topic over the next couple of days. So just want to warn you all of that. Of course, I'm going to keep other things updated too, like the morning updates, and keep you guys updated on what to expect daily in the morning videos. But this event here is in 2 days, and by the time we're 48 hours from right now, we will probably be talking about some pretty nasty weather. So I want to remind y'all, I think most of y'all know this, that there's a lot of great weather YouTubers out there that go live. We all know Ryan Hall, and there's a lot of others too that do a great job of keeping people updated. So certainly stay tuned to their live feeds. I'm not able to do anything like that right now with my current setup, but I hope to do that potentially in the future if that's something that I feel like that I could really bring to the table in an efficient way. So hopefully one of these days I can do something like that if I'm able to do this full time one day. But those other guys, there's a lot of people who do such a great job. They save lives and they certainly help. I also want to remind you folks in the Arkansas area, the National Weather Service in Little Rock, Arkansas, y'all's radar is going to be down during this event. It's doing, I think, maintenance, if I'm hearing correctly. And it's just terrible timing. So there's not going to be a great way to stay up to date, which is really unfortunate. But I'm sure they're going to try to figure out some kind of way to keep you guys updated. Of course, we will still have tornado warnings, and all the warnings and watches will still be issued. But this is definitely going to be an issue out there, especially for people who are really trying to figure out what exactly it looks like based off of radar. So, I'm here to try to figure this out for you guys and with y'all. And certainly, if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. If you guys got anything I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below so I can pray over it and so others can too. I know a lot of people suffer with storm anxiety, so we're certainly praying for you folks out there. But just don't freak out. Just be ready right now as of 5:46 p.m. Eastern Time. This is still an enhanced risk. If it upgrades, it'll probably be tomorrow morning. But we're going to talk about why they might wait a little bit before they upgrade. Now, I can tell you the dynamics here, thermodynamics, kinematics, it's all looking like this is pointing to at least a moderate risk event, level 4 out of 5. But right now, there is an enhanced risk. Nothing has really changed since this morning, except that we're in range of some short-range models, really the NAM 3KM. We can actually kind of start to get at least a long range, if you will, long-range, short-range idea of what the radar could look like. But right now, an enhanced risk of severe storms. That's a level 3 out of 5. That's a big deal. This has been an enhanced risk since day 5, so since 2 days ago. This includes, right on the border of Jackson, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee, Greenville, Mississippi. This might get extended into Jackson, Mississippi in time. Not quite to Shreveport anymore, but this could wobble back and forth. You almost have an enhanced risk in Little Rock. And guys, the worrisome trend here is that this might not really get going big time until after the sun goes down. I mean, it's late November. The sun goes down. It's already pretty much dark out there by 6 p.m. for the most part. So this is a big issue. It really is. So this is the concerning part of this, that is this going to be a nocturnal severe weather event for these sections right here. We can't ignore the slight risk either. Just because you're not in the enhanced risk, that certainly doesn't mean you're just not going to see severe weather. A closer look at this, so this orange area, this is the enhanced risk, guys. So this is the area we need to watch where the parameters and just the dynamics are going to overlap the best. When I say overlap, you got thermodynamics and you got kinematics. Thermodynamics is the CAPE, basically that storm fuel, that low-level moisture, your dew points in the 60s and 70s, and surface temperatures, things like that. Those are your thermodynamics. Kinematics is how is the low-level jet looking? Do you have a stout low-level jet where you got a 40, 50, 60, 70 knot low-level jet? And how basically your wind energy. Where do they overlap the best? And it all just depends on the positioning of the surface low that's going to ride this upper trough. So Let's kind of take a look at just the precipitation map of how this unfolds. We'll start this off tomorrow afternoon. Here comes this little surface low right here. Right as this upper trough is digging, surface low scoops across right in the middle of the country, starts riding through the Midwest, drops some snow for areas of Iowa, Minneapolis potentially. This is actually the colder part of this is trending a little further south. And there could be some snow as far south as the panhandle of Oklahoma. Could be some snow showers. This is not going to be a big snow event. Somebody asked me about Montana in the comments. I forgot what part of Montana you asked for, but I wanted to acknowledge your request. I know I don't talk much on Montana. I feel like you said northwest Montana. If you did, then it's probably snowing right now. But if you said southeast or northeast Montana, I'm not expecting much in the way of much weather for you right up there. But this low pressure will scoot across the middle of the country, and with it, as this surface low, along with this upper trough, will dig in here. This will bring plenty of low-level moisture. And with it, you're going to have dew points well into the 60s, pretty far north, all the way into areas of the Ohio Valley, most likely. And basically, if you're closer to that low pressure right here, that surface low, your kinematics are going to be the best. But obviously, the further north you go, the worse your thermodynamics are. Naturally, the further south you go, the more humid it is, the more warm it is, and those are your thermodynamics. So let's talk about that. And just bear with me because the pivotal weather does something rather annoying where if you don't click on these panels quick enough, it'll do like a 3 or 4 second lag before the screen comes up. But here it is. We're looking at the 500 millibar right here and how this unfolds. And these are winds basically several thousand feet up in the air, several thousand, well over 10,000 feet up in the air. And how these works is this is an upper trough. So along this, you have a low pressure that pops off and rides this upper trough here on the eastern side of this trough. It kind of digs down here, then rolls over the Midwest. And as this digs, it's kind of like a neutrally tilted trough, a positively tilted trough, bows out like this. Negatively tilted trough kind of bows out like that, and a neutrally tilted trough is right in the middle. So negatively tilted trough is something you don't want to see because it brings more intense severe weather, more dynamic weather, and can bring some absolutely crazy weather in general. So this looks more neutrally tilted, if you will, and it almost looks like it tries to go negatively tilted as it moves into the Ohio Valley. And I think this could bring a period of strong winds. Certainly, almost possible to likely. My guy up here in New York State mentioned this also, and he's absolutely correct. Sometime, maybe Wednesday night into Thursday, as this thing wraps up, this could bring some strong winds to the northeast. We'll focus in on that a little bit later in the week. But right now, this, as it digs in, this is going to yank southerly winds or southwesterly winds and bring a lot of moisture out the Gulf, like any severe weather event normally does in the south. So we look at the NAM, which we're starting to get in a range of. And this is the 12 km NAM. It goes out 84 hours. So we'll start this off Tuesday morning. So if you're waking up Tuesday morning in Arkansas, you're waking up to a pretty crisp air mass. This isn't temperatures. These are dew points. Dew points in the 40s for most of Arkansas. And western Tennessee and the northern half of Mississippi. You're thinking, well, it feels pretty nice out here. But what you'll notice throughout the day Tuesday morning for this entire area that you see these higher dew points creeping north. And I know if you're asking, what are dew points, Mitch? Dew points is basically just pretty much measures how humid it is outside. To really narrow it down to a surface level explanation here, if you got dew points in the 60s to 70s, especially the 70s, that's when you can actually feel a little humidity in the atmosphere. And on those days in the summer, where it is just miserably humid outside, dew points well into the 70s, you almost know it's going to rain at some point, right? At least you hope it is. So in a setup like this is what we call a moist sector. So as we're getting into about midday Tuesday, dew points are rising well into the 60s in northeast Texas, even into southeast Oklahoma. Basically the entire central to southern half of Arkansas, you got dew points rising into the 50s and 60s. All of all of Louisiana down here, you got dew points in the 60s and 70s. And look at Mississippi, starts to take over. And then by the time we get into, 6, 7, 8 p.m. Tuesday evening, I mean, look at the clashing of the air masses. You got dew points deep into the 20s. Very dry air mass up here as a pretty strong cold front tries to dig down here. And then dew points well into the 60s, pushing 70 in areas of southern Arkansas, certainly in the 70s in Louisiana and eastern Texas, and potentially in areas of Mississippi. You got dew points riding all the way up into the Mississippi Valley, the Quad States regions, all the way into the 60s, potentially all the way up into southern Illinois. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is there's plenty of low-level moisture for this time of the year and for this setup. Of course, you got dew points in the 70s, then that's a dangerous setup here. Then the higher the dew points go, in general, the higher your CAPE levels can rise. It's really just a direct response to that. Of course, more goes into it than that, but normally the higher your dew points, the higher your CAPE levels. And if you're wondering what CAPE is, just think of that as available energy in the atmosphere for storms to take advantage of. So you're going to wake up in certain parts in this region that have an enhanced risk to a very dry air mass, kind of like it feels like spring or fall outside. And then by the time you get into the afternoon and evening hours, it is going to be humid, and you'll notice and feel something coming. Now, you switch it to the NAM here and look at actual temperatures, they're not going to be much higher than your dew points. As the temperatures rise, I mean, temperatures might rise. I'm sorry, I got you a wrong day here. Tuesday, we're getting into Tuesday, temperatures will try to rise into the 70s into central Arkansas. And we'll have to see how high these temperatures get, but I can almost bet you they're going to get a little bit higher than what the NAM is showing. I almost bet they are. But look at this cold front. These are temperatures. Look at this cold front coming. I mean, you're deep into the 30s already in areas of Kansas, while in Arkansas and Missouri, you're in the 50s and 60s. I mean, that's not too far away from one another. And then look how this front moves in late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. And, I mean, you'll go from a severe weather threat in Arkansas to right back to winter for your Wednesday. And I mean, you might not get out the 40s for the same areas that see a bunch of severe weather the day after of the severe weather event. I mean, this is fall. This is normally how it happens. It's not really that shocking at all. I've already had this up here, but looks like I had double panels pulled up there, but I think I meant to have the CAPE levels pulled up here. Let's make sure. No, we're good. So you look at the low-level jet also. This is your kinematics, the wind energy in the atmosphere. We're getting into Tuesday. We're getting into Tuesday midday. The low-level jet, you got that surface low way up here, in Iowa and Minnesota. Low-level jet already ramping up in Missouri. For you folks in Missouri, you'll be waking up. You'll be waking up if you're heading off to work in St. Louis, between St. Louis and Columbia, Missouri. You'll be able to look up in the atmosphere and basically look right up in the sky, and the clouds will probably be racing 1,000 miles an hour. That's your low-level jet. That's what happens here. Same thing in Arkansas. You'll wake up, and you'll just be having a strong kind of southwesternly flow, if you will, more so coming out the south that's yanking this low-level moisture up. And so you'll have this low-level jet. The 850 millibars is about 5,000 feet up in the air, and it'll be screaming at, way up here in Missouri at, probably 50 to 60, maybe 70 knots at certain areas. But the thing is with Missouri, you're thinking, well, what about Missouri getting severe? But the thing with the Missouri, you start to get a little bit too far north. And the severe weather, even into Illinois, by the time we get, to Tuesday about midday, you got a pretty intense low-level jet flying into Illinois. And this will probably mix to the surface. It'll be probably quite windy in Illinois, Missouri, Tuesday morning into Tuesday afternoon. But one thing you watch down here, we'll go to one more panel. So let's just go to one more after that. So this right here, this is around 6, 7, 8 p.m. Tuesday night. Right when this low-level jet's starting to exit, you still got a 40 to 50 to 60 knot low-level jet down here in Arkansas, northern Louisiana, western Tennessee, Mississippi, even into up the Mississippi Valley, even to areas of southeast Missouri. Watch out, southern Illinois, into areas of far western Kentucky. So you still got the wind energy down here. And the thing is, the more you retain that wind energy, that low-level jet, and the further south you go, the better thermodynamics you have. And remember, we overlap both of them. That's when you're going to potentially get the worst severe weather event. So one very important thing you look at, and a lot of times, your CAPE levels, and this is mixed layer CAPE, your CAPE levels like to increase in time. That's why a lot of times with these severe weather events, sometimes it might not look that bad 2, 3, 4, 5 days out, and then all of a sudden, maybe the day before or the day of the event, things increase. It's because these short-range models really pick up on things a lot better than the global models. But I can tell you the GFS, looking at some things, the GFS look quite scary also. But I'll stop it right here. This is 03Z Wednesday. So this is actually probably anywhere from, I don't know, 9 p.m. to around midnight to Tuesday night. Or no, that's when the sun is down. I know, guys. I mean, look at these CAPE levels in response to these high dew points right here. CAPE levels, the mid levels reaching, 1,500 to maybe 2,000 joules per kilogram. And remember, the further the better you have of these overlapping of the high CAPE levels and the kinematics, that low-level jet, the more significant that severe weather threat is for that one geographical location. So if I click a sounding here at the same time frame I just mentioned, let's take a sounding where I think is going to be maybe one of the worst areas right here, which is right in here, which is where the enhanced risk area is. Take a sounding right here deep down in southeast Arkansas. We click it here, and it has a PDS tornado possible hazard type. And you got a looping hodograph right here. You see how it kind of loops like this. That's not what you want to see. You got a dew point of almost 70. Yes, the surface temperatures are not that high, but I mean, you got a little bit of dry air aloft. One thing that tells me is a little bit of dry air in the low to mid levels. That normally can tell us that, hey, there's the potential for some supercells. Are they going to be discrete, semi-discrete? But if these dew points were kind of riding the temperature way far up, to me that would be something like a saturated column, which means you're going to have a messy storm mode, which is odd because if you compare this to potentially, and in fact, let's go a little bit further north up here. Let's go way up here. And same kind of deal. It doesn't look as significant, but what I'm trying to kind of hint at this is if we look at this, that last the first sounding that I showed, which to me would symbolize that maybe it isn't such a messy mode. But if you look at the NAM 3KM, the latest and really the only long range convective model we can look at. Here it comes. We can see how this comes in sight. Tuesday morning, you already got some showers into northeast Texas, moving into southwest Arkansas, southeast Oklahoma, even areas of Louisiana. And this continues. How much storm activity do you have in the mornings? Could that help to limit severe weather potential in these areas that could have the highest, severe weather potential in these areas? Who knows? What does the morning convection do? A lot of times, sometimes that can help really calm the air mass down, really stabilize it. So by the time you get into the afternoon and evening hours, the atmosphere can't recover. But we don't know if it's going to do that. I could tell you the NAM, really the only model we can look at into this range, because the HRRR model does not really go this far out yet. I mean, it does, but we'll take a look at that here in a second. But it only goes out to about midday Tuesday. You got a lot of messy convection from Memphis down to Jackson, down into areas of Louisiana to Little Rock, points east. A lot of messy convection. And then we get to that. Look at the snow showing up. Pretty wild. But then we get into the evening hours. Is there any gas left for this? It really doesn't show much at all. Now, the dynamics here and the parameters certainly still show an atmosphere that's supportive for severe weather, but based off the 18 NAM here, the 18 km NAM. Sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up here. But you look at the 3 km NAM here. It looks like a very messy storm mode, which could be good, but also would be bad because that means that we could have some spin-ups mixed in with this messy storm mode, which means that, one, it's going to be very difficult to see any kind of tornadoes that might drop, and two, if this happens when the sun goes down, I mean, you ain't going to be able to see nothing. So it's just something we need to watch. So this is basically the first run. The first complete run that really shows the entire event, and I can tell you, I mean, it just looks really messy. I don't see any discrete cells popping up or anything. Now, you look at the latest HRRR model, which, I'm going to do this on the fly here, so bear with me. It goes out to, here we go. and that's where it stops, around midday Tuesday. Now this looks a little bit more worrisome. There's a couple discrete cells down in northern Louisiana, but to me, one thing you got to watch is this moving much quicker. If it does, that means that it will be during the day. So there's a lot of things you got to watch, guys. It's a very, I wouldn't say complex. I mean, all severe weather setups are complex, but it's certainly something that we still don't know 100% of what's going to happen with. That's why there really hasn't been much changes today. But you look at the NAM, the latest NAM on what the significant tornado parameter looks like, and I mean it spikes Tuesday afternoon and evening right in these areas. You got a 3 out of 10 in these regions, and then it really spikes as we get into southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and we just got to watch these areas. There's another thing that I keep seeing on Twitter. You got NATO cast too, but there's something else too that really wants to throw a bullseye right over this area right here. So we just don't know who's going to be the biggest bullseye. And I know you're looking at this and it looks kind of scary, guys, but just look at this and say, hey, as of right now, this might be the highest chance of where you can see a tornado. Don't focus on that 3.7 or any kind of particular number. Just know that this short range model is setting up and saying it supports the Storm Prediction Center and saying that, hey, this is probably going to be your highest area the area you need to watch for the highest potential to see severe weather. So a more broader look at this and how this develops, what does this mean for Alabama, Georgia, the rest of Tennessee, and the Southeast? Well, we can go 60 hours out, and it takes us all the way to the middle of the night, Tuesday night. And it just looks like a lot of messy storm action. Nothing eye-popping. But listen, these short-range models are going to change, another couple handfuls of times. So we just don't know exactly what's going to happen, guys. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep you guys updated. For you folks who know, been watching the longest, you guys know I'm not a big fan of talking severe weather just because I feel like it's the thing I know the least about, but I still know enough to comfortably talk about it. But at the same time, I like chasing severe weather. I don't, talking about it doesn't excite me because honestly, sometimes it's the thing that can devastate the most, it can do the most damage sometimes. Sure, tropical systems can do more damage in a more bigger area, but when you get an F2, EF2 tornado or higher, and it goes through an area, I mean, it's going to cause mass destruction. So, anyways, guys, stay safe. Have a plan if you're in those areas I just talked about. And we'll try to figure this out for you folks. We really will. And hopefully this does not play out to the highest potential it might can, if that makes any sense. So, you guys have a great night, great ending to your weekend. Of course, I'll be with you guys in the morning. God bless.